Good afternoon, everyone. Our webinar is going to begin. I'm Steve Love, President, CEO, Dallas-Fort Worth Hospital Council. We want to thank you for joining us today for this webinar, and we're hosting it in coordination with TAP Report, an associate member of the council. Today's topic, digitizing fire protection inspections. We're delighted to have three expert speakers with us today to discuss hospital safety and the important standards of fire protection within healthcare facilities. We're fortunate today to have Paul Amendola, co-founder of TAP Report, Steve Buck, account executive at TAP Report, and Stephanie Gutierrez, a customer service executive at TAP Report. Our speakers are all experts in workplace inspection software with customized solutions to meet our hospital's digital needs. To protect against fire-related disasters, extensive protections are necessary, as all of you know. Routine inspections to ensure fire protection equipment is not only operational and fundamental, it's legislative. Through three types of fire protection inspections, our panel today is going to illustrate why routine inspections are important, but how inspections are typically completed and how leveraging digital inspection solutions can literally save lives. We are certainly looking forward to this excellent presentation. So, without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Paul Amendola. Paul, thank you for being here.
Great. Thanks for having us as well. We're excited to be here. Hi, everyone. As Steven said, I am Paul, one of TAP Report's co-founders, and I'm here with Steph and Steve from our team. So today, we're going to share with you why routine inspections of fire protection equipment are performed, how these inspections can be performed, and how you can leverage technology to ensure inspections are completed, along with many other added benefits. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Steph. Take it away.
Thanks, Paul. So to protect occupants and facilities against fire-related disasters, extensive protections are necessary. The more safeguards and fire prevention systems required, the bigger, more complicated, and higher risk the institution. Fire protection is separated into two main categories, which are fire equipment and fire emergency systems, and it includes a long number of products to prevent and limit damage. In the case of a fire, fire equipment is the primary tool available to occupants and emergency response professionals. However, fire emergency systems are built-in line of defense that are planned and developed to prevent a fire from spreading, notify people, and allow for speedy escape. Throughout the presentation, we're going to draw on examples from three key types of fire protection inspections. These are fire equipment like fire extinguishers and fire hose cabinets, sprinkler valves, and fire-rated doors. So routine inspections are required for three main reasons. The first being insurance purposes to ensure coverage in case something were to happen, such as a flood from a fire hose cabinet, and a claim was needed to be put through to receive funds for this repair. The insurance company may want to see evidence that the equipment was kept in good condition and the issue didn't arise from negligence. This can be verified through routine inspections and documentation.
Thanks, Steph. So I actually had to deal with the insurance firsthand. While I was working downtown Toronto as a fire and life safety officer, we had this significant flood on the 30th floor. It was a result of one of the fire hose cabinets that decided after 30 plus years that it was going to let loose and cause a whole bunch of water damage. The very first thing I was asked for when I came into work the next day was that the insurance company had requested inspection records for that specific fire hose cabinet. Long story short, fortunately, I had all the records. However, if I didn't, it could have cost me my job, our company's reputation, and our bottom line.
So the second reason is compliance with legislative requirements, such as the Provincial Fire Code and Health and Safety Act, which mandate that routine inspections must be completed under the law.
So back in 2014, here we had more than 230,000 non-compliance orders, which cost companies more than 184 million to investigate and rectify. That doesn't take into account any loss of production or downtime. So ensuring compliance is always the best policy. And then the third reason we're talking about is preventative maintenance, which helps prolong the life of the whatever equipment you're working on or doing the preventative maintenance on. And at times, all three of these may be intertwined. So when we look at fire equipment, there are specific maintenance procedures that must be completed in order to stay compliant. If those are not completed and documented and something bad should happen, your insurance company could hold you partially liable. Insurance companies don't like to hand over money. They can find you at fault or partially at fault, and your claim could be denied or even reduced. So before joining TAP Report, I owned a fire equipment company for more than 30 years. And during that time, I had clients that unfortunately did have fires and floods, and some of those clients were found partially at fault. Not so much for the fire or the flood itself, but for the extent of the damage. And they were at fault for either non-compliance or not keeping things up to maintenance and being compliant. So it's very important to make sure you're compliant and make sure you're documenting all of those inspections and any maintenance and whatever. And then another issue back in 2003, up here we had a huge power outage. A number of my clients at that time had generators that failed, and the majority of the failures was because of lack of maintenance or improper maintenance. So they may have had a maintenance. We had one issue where they were doing their monthly tests and the generator was starting and everything was working, but they weren't running it for the amount of time they should have been running it. When the power outage happened, the generator did start, so everything worked in that regard. But unfortunately, the dampers didn't open, and in short time, it overheated and shut down the generator. So they were again back with loss of power. So in that instance, it wasn't really an insurance issue or anything, but it was a very huge inconvenience it was a very large facility. It was a huge inconvenience and a big problem for the property management company. So I'll hand it back to you now, Steph.
Thanks. So now that we know that inspections must be completed for many reasons, pen and paper is the most common inspection method. Let's take the example of fire extinguishers and fire hose cabinet inspections. The process would involve an inspector doing their walk around with pen and paper. They may have a list of equipment locations to inspect, or they may not. They would go to the equipment, complete their inspection, and write down their inspection results. Upon completion, they would submit their inspection documentation for review, usually to a manager. The manager would then review and sort the documents, review all locations to ensure that none were missed, decipher any notes such as that the fire extinguisher pressure is in the operational range. They would flag any deficiencies such as an obstruction to a particular fire hose cabinet, and then create work orders to send emails to the right people depending on the building system so that the staff was informed of the deficiencies and they can take action to remediate. The manager would then follow up to ensure that the deficiencies were fixed, and then they would file the inspection paperwork in case it was needed in the future. So with digital inspections, NFC tags or barcodes are affixed to the equipment and programmed with all necessary equipment information, such as manufacturer, manufacturer year, next service date, location, description, and much more. Inspectors would go to the equipment location and scan the tag with their phone or scanner to inspect. Then they are presented with options to document the status, as well as include any notes or photos. In some cases, there is also opportunity to capture more granular information, such as temperatures, pressure ranges, and many others. With some of the technology solutions, deficiencies can be sent to the right people automatically, which is eliminating the need to review or follow up. In comparison, the post-inspection work is completely eliminated. So benefits with digital inspection solutions may vary depending on the solution, but some of our favorite benefits for the inspector include the ability to confirm that they are reporting on the right item because it was tailored equipment information. This eliminates human error. There's no more accidental mismatching, such as between the northwest and northeast fire hose cabinets on the floor. They also have the ability to see location maps and remaining inspections, so it keeps them on track and ensures that they don't miss anything. They can also receive on-the-spot inspection guidance and a checklist of what to inspect, again, ensuring that the inspector knows what they are doing, ensures that they don't miss anything, and helps to easily train new staff.
I agree. On-the-spot instructions can be very helpful. One of our clients had multiple teams inspect their 200+ sprinkler valves, and they did this every single week for insurance and compliance requirements. Before going digital, these were completed with pen and paper. They had difficulty training their teams on the various floor versus riser pressure readings on each of those floors. So they tried to solve this with printing off instructions that the team would carry in their pocket. However, those instructions didn't always help because each floor was a little bit different. After going digital, the inspectors can now receive specific instructions tailored to that specific sprinkler valve, including what gauge to look at and document pressures for.
So tying into that example, at any time, inspectors can view detailed equipment information, such as current and past locations, usage and history, manufacturer and service information, and inspection intervals. If there is a deficiency found, the digital inspector solution can provide the inspector with a pre-populated description of issues, making reporting much quicker and way easier. They can include notes or photos, as well as easily include values such as pressure ranges, temperatures, for quick and easy detailed reporting. So for managers, digital inspection solutions can also offer many benefits. So for example, technology solutions cannot be falsified like pen and paper, so that the managers have that peace of mind knowing that each piece of equipment was intended and with time-stamped records. It provides managers with the ability to see inspection time, who the inspector was, and the status of each location through a property dashboard. It can also provide an overview of inspections that have been completed, are remaining, and which ones have been missed. Digital inspection solutions also have automatic workflow and notification of deficiencies, which eliminate the post-inspection review and follow-up work. The right people are notified automatically. Managers will receive notifications of near due and overdue inspections and servicing dates, as well as any noted deficiencies, which is allowing managers to keep the pulse on the facility. All inspection records are kept as per record retention requirements and are easily and quickly retrievable, with the ability to customize package reports.
Proper record retention is important to show due diligence. One of our customers, they had this sizable 57-story building, and they had these two main stairwells. On the second floor, both of these stairwells would join and they would direct occupants to the back of the building to safely exit. Little to no issues were made maintaining that passage until construction started though. Keeping that pathway unobstructed was very tedious, but it was critical. Keeping the fire doors closed was also a challenge to ensure that fire separation and pressurization within the stairwells. Their teams were doing hundreds of checks, but they lacked proper documentation. After digitizing their fire door inspections, they could now easily document all the continuous inspections that they were doing, showing due diligence in case of a terrible event.
So another benefit from documenting inspections using digital solutions is that you can gain valuable insights from inspection analytics, such as how your sprinkler valve pressure has performed over the past year, if there's a particular area where you keep experiencing issues like high traffic areas or construction areas, or if there's a consistent issue with a particular type of fire extinguisher. These types of trends are not easily detected through pen and paper inspections. The business case for digital inspection is clear. This is true from a cost, efficiency, and a due diligence perspective. This becomes even more evident when you start inspecting and documenting locations and equipment for areas such as fire extinguishers, monthly, or even hourly fire watches. When the inspection interval and frequency increases, so too does the return on investment. Sticking with the same old pen and paper or computerized forms for routine fire protection inspections makes significantly less sense at a certain point. And the pandemic has shown us that technology is critical to flourishing in unpredictable times. We'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation today. We'd love to connect and answer any questions you may have. You can find our contact information by scanning the QR code with your phone.
Thank you. Great overview, excellent information. We do have a few questions. Does this system work with Android and Apple devices?
I'll take that one. Yes, yeah, both Android and Apple, you can go on the app stores and you can download the app. Definitely it's compatible with both.
Can 2 or more people complete inspections at the same time?
I'll take this one, Paul. Yes, you can have multiple people doing the inspection simultaneously, so there's no limit there.
So if you're inspecting, here's another question. If you're inspecting with a digital solution, such as TAP report, do you still need to sign paper tags each month?
So that would depend upon the client typically. So we have clients that do not sign the paper tags and no longer. We also have clients that like to use both. So a lot of times it depends on either the tenants, the health and safety within the building, or the AHJ, but the fire departments do accept electronic records. It's usually something internally where somebody wants to see that paper tag signed as well.
Great answer. Thanks for that. Here's another question. Do the microchips or the smart tags require batteries?
I'll take that one. So yes, they're called a smart tag, but they do not require a battery. They're not like the Bluetooth beacons where you have to replace the batteries every so often. It's basically a passive technology where when you bring your phone up to that smart tag, it actually energizes it at that very moment, which then spits out a unique ID. So to sum it up, no batteries are needed. It's very much like a credit card. They last as forever as we know it. We've had them in place for over 8 years now in a number of hospitals, and they haven't had any issues with replacing of batteries or the quite durable chips.
Here's another question. If you use TAP report as a solution, does it require the internet?
I'll take that. So the phones can work offline. So we did this right in the beginning because my background working in a lot of these buildings, there's a lot of areas that do not have internet. It was critical that if we're going to make something, we're going to make it so that you can continue doing your work. So it works completely offline. And then whenever you're finished, you would need an internet connection at that very moment to sync your inspections. But throughout the time, you can go completely offline.
So here's some questions related to the tags. Do the tags work outside?
I'll jump on that one. So they work in all types of temperatures. So it can be very cold. So we have them on rooftops or even in freezers. So some of our clients in facilities, they have them in very, very cold areas, but they also actually work in super hot areas in different facilities in the steel we have and in the toilet paper and all these very hot furnace areas. So they can actually perform very well both in hot and cold conditions.
Kind of as a follow-up to that, in restricted areas, do the tags work, say, inside an MRI room?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Paul. Yeah, we have hospitals currently now using them, and they have them in their MRI rooms, and they've had no issues with them, and they work well. So there's no issues there as well.
Here in the Metroplex, as you might expect, because we have close to 8 million people, many of our hospitals have helipads because of air transport. Could you use something like this to help in helipad daily inspections?
Absolutely. So currently we have a hospital up here that has a helipad on the roof of their hospital, and they are utilizing TAP report for those those inspections, and they're quite frequent. They're daily, or anytime they're expecting an arrival, they have to be inspected again prior to the helicopter arriving, and they're using TAP Report, so it works quite well.
You know, I think as a follow-up to that, can you use a digital solution for other inspections? Let's say security patrols. And as you know, only certain people need to see security patrols or fire equipment inspections. So I've kind of got two questions. Do you think it could be used for other types of inspections? And could you restrict who sees it?
Yes, so both, to answer yes to both of those. So we have a lot of clients that are using TAP Report for multiple applications, whether it's the fire equipment, their security patrols, housekeeping patrols. COVID has brought out a lot of those recently. So you can use it for basically any type of routine workplace inspection. And as far as administration rights and who can see what and report on what, you have the administrative rights to allow certain people, say the fire equipment people, to only see the fire equipment, and the security patrols to only see the security patrols and report on those different groups, if you will. So yes, it can be utilized for many different applications.
You know, when you look at it, is it a way to integrate it with other systems, like a work order system, or is it standalone?
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Sure. Yeah. So it's definitely can integrate with other systems. We see the future of smart buildings and hospitals being this interconnected network. So we definitely, all of our software is built in-house. So we play nice with different companies to make sure that the data is only inputted once and it can be utilized in many different areas to provide more value. So yes, it definitely does integrate with other systems, including work orders, so that there's no duplication of work.
You know, those are some good questions that have come in. Chris, as you're checking, do we have any other questions?
I don't see any more.
I think that's all the questions we have at this point. But Paul, I didn't know if you wanted to make some closing remarks, or if there were other pertinent points that you wanted to make sure that people understood about TAP Report.
Thanks. Well, I think the great step would be to, if you have an opportunity, to check out our website. We have, or even scan one of us, reach out to us, start the conversation. It's important that although fire protection is not always typically at the top of our minds because we're dealing with so many other items, it's something that we do want to keep in mind. And something like TAP Report or a similar solution, a digital solution, is something that will help you stay compliant and take away all that stress and ensure that nothing falls through the cracks.
Yeah, that's great advice. And Paul, we can't thank y'all enough. And we're going to have Chris, he's recording this, and he's going to post it tomorrow so that people that are participating, if you've got other members of your department or if you've got other people you want to share it with, it will be recorded, and Chris will have contact information where you can reach Paul and his team. So we want to thank you, Paul. We certainly appreciate this excellent information. We certainly want to thank Steve and Stephanie as well. But this is great information, and I think once Chris posts this, you'll get some good feedback.
Great, thanks a lot.
Right, thank you. So this concludes our webinar, but thanks to everyone for signing on and participating.
Yes, thank you everyone for your time and listening to us today. It was a pleasure from our end.
So much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.